Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. Life doesn't have to drag out for years before you make a change. You don't need a perfect plan. You don't need all the answers, and you sure don't need everybody's approval. You can fix your entire life in one single day. It starts the moment you make a decision that you've had enough of living beneath your potential. Life changes the moment you decide you've had enough of mediocrity. Every single one of us reaches a point where we feel stuck, trapped, or like we're just going through the motions of existence. We wake up, we do the same thing, we deal with the same problems, we accept the same frustrations, and deep down, we know it's not the life we were created to live. But here's the truth. The gap between where you are and where you want to be is not as wide as you think. It's not about luck. It's not about waiting for someone else to rescue you. It's not about life magically getting easier. It's about a decision. A single decision to say, I'm done living small. I'm done accepting less. I'm done sitting in mediocrity. That's the moment everything shifts. Mediocrity is comfortable. That's why so many people live in it. It doesn't demand courage. It doesn't push you to grow. It doesn't require sacrifice. It lets you settle in the middle, safe but unsatisfied, secure but unfulfilled. And the scary part about mediocrity is that it disguises itself as normal. People around you will tell you it's okay. It's just how life is. Everybody struggles. Everybody sacrifices their dream. But when you know deep inside you were created for more, mediocrity eats at your soul. The day you say no more, that's the day you take back control of your life. Think about it. Every success story you admired, every person you look up to, every dream that was ever realized, it didn't begin with money. It didn't begin with connections. It didn't even begin with talent. It began with a decision. A line drawn in the sand where someone said, I refuse to live like this any longer. I know there is more in me and I'm going to go after it. That's the power of decision. It doesn't instantly give you all the results, but it instantly shifts your direction. Once you decide, your energy changes, your mindset changes, your habits begin to change, and that's when opportunities start appearing. You can spend years waiting for the right conditions, but the truth is, you don't need conditions to be perfect. You need your commitment to be solid. The moment you decide you're not going to tolerate mediocrity anymore, you start moving differently. You stop letting fear dictate your choices. You stop letting doubt tell you what you can't do. You stop living by other people's expectations. You step into ownership of your own life. And that ownership is the key that unlocks growth. It might mean walking away from relationships that keep you stuck. It might mean changing the circle of people you spend your time with. It might mean picking up a new discipline, waking up earlier, investing time in your gift, or finally taking the leap on the thing you've been putting off for years. None of those things are possible if you stay comfortable in mediocrity. But once you decide that enough is enough, you begin to see that everything you want is on the other side of that comfort zone. Life doesn't change gradually. It changes suddenly when you shift your standards. What you accept is what you live with. If you accept mediocrity, you'll keep repeating the same cycles. But when you raise your standards, you raise your life. That choice happens in a single moment of clarity, a single day of boldness, a single declaration that you're not settling anymore. It's not about waiting for motivation to strike. It's about making the decision that mediocrity no longer has a place in your story. Once you make that decision, you step into the version of yourself that was always waiting to come alive. Taking ownership of your future eliminates excuses and blame. Most people spend so much of their lives pointing fingers at circumstances, at other people or at the past, and they never realize that every moment they do that, they give away their power. You can't control how you were born. You can't control what happened to you yesterday, and you can't control every challenge that comes your way. but you can control how you respond. The moment you decide to take full responsibility for where you are and where you're going, you free yourself from the chains of excuses. Excuses are heavy. They weigh you down. They make you believe there's always a reason you can't succeed, and they keep you trapped in a cycle of waiting for someone else to change your life. When you blame others for your situation, you're handing them the keys to your future. You're saying, until this person changes, I can't grow. Until this condition improves, I can't move forward. Until life becomes easier, I can't take action. That mindset will keep you stagnant forever. Ownership flips the switch because it tells you that no matter what happened to you, no matter who left you, no matter how fair life was, you are still in control of how you move forward. The power belongs to you and nobody else. Taking ownership means asking yourself the hard questions. Instead of saying, why did this happen to me? You start asking, what can I learn from this? How can I use this situation to grow stronger? What steps can I take right now to create a different future? Those questions don't let you stay a victim. They force you into action. Victims stay stuck, but owners rise up. Victims wait for circumstances to shift, but owners make the shift happen through their choices, their attitude, and their persistence. The reality is, as long as excuses are part of your vocabulary, success will stay out of reach. Excuses sound convincing in the moment. They make you feel justified for not trying. They protect you from failure. They let you off the hook. But every excuse you hold on to steals a piece of your destiny. Every time you say, I can't because, you're building walls around your potential. Taking ownership is tearing down those walls and saying, I will find a way regardless. That's when you start discovering strength you never knew you had. But it doesn't mean ignoring the pain or pretending the challenges don't exist. Ownership isn't denial, it's empowerment. It's looking reality in the face and saying, yes, this is tough, but I'm tougher. Yes, I've been hurt, but I won't let the hurt define me. Yes, I failed, but failure is just a lesson that points me toward a better strategy. Ownership turns every setback into a stepping stone, every mistake into a message, every obstacle into an opportunity to grow. When you live with ownership, you no longer depend on someone else's permission to chase your goals. You stop waiting for someone to believe in you before you believe in yourself. You stop expecting people to hand you opportunities and you create them instead. That doesn't mean the path will be easy, but it does mean the path will be yours. You'll walk it with confidence, knowing that you're in charge of the direction, the pace, and the outcome. The moment you choose ownership over excuses is the moment your life begins to change. Excuses will always be available. Blame will always be an option, but so will responsibility. And responsibility is the doorway to freedom because it hands the power back to you and allows you to shape your future on your own terms. One bold decision creates the fire that fuels your climb to success. Life doesn't require you to have it all figured out before you take the first step. It doesn't demand that you map out every detail, predict every challenge, or guarantee every outcome. What it does demand is a decision, a single bold choice that sets everything else in motion. That one choice is what sparks the flame, and once it's lit, it becomes the fuel that carries you through the obstacles, the failures, the setbacks, and the doubts. People often overcomplicate success by thinking it's a long series of complicated moves. But in reality, it starts with one clear, uncompromising decision that says, I am going after this no matter what it takes. The reason bold decisions are so powerful is because they leave no room for retreat. When you make a bold decision, you cut off all the backup plans and excuses. You stop looking over your shoulder and wondering if you should turn back. Instead, you move forward with a kind determination that cannot be shaken by the first storm that comes your way. That bold choice is what keeps you standing when fear tries to knock you down, when failure whispers that you're not good enough, and when people doubt your vision. Without that boldness, you'll always hesitate, and hesitation kills more dreams than failure ever could. A bold decision doesn't have to be dramatic in the eyes of the world. It only has to be dramatic in your heart. It might be the decision to leave behind a job that drains your soul. It might be the decision to finally start working on your dream instead of just talking about it. It might be the decision to commit to a discipline, to stop procrastinating, to end toxic relationships, or to put your gift out into the world despite the fear of criticism. Whatever that decision is, the moment you make it with conviction, your life begins to shift. That fire inside you will not let you rest until you pursue what you've chosen. Think of people who achieve greatness. They didn't get there because the path was clear or easy. They got there because one day they decided. They decided to keep showing up when nothing was working. They decided to believe in themselves when nobody else did. They decided to act boldly when everyone around them was content with playing safe. That decision is the foundation of every breakthrough, because nothing can be built without first deciding to start. The beautiful thing about bold decisions is that they multiply. When you make one, it gives you the courage to make another, and then another. The fire grows, and as it grows, it pushes you to climb higher and higher. The climb is not easy, but the fire gives you strength. It reminds you why you started. It keeps you focused on the vision, and it pushes you past the point where most people quit. Boldness is contagious within yourself. It spills into your actions, your words, your mindset, and even the way you carry yourself. If you look back on your own life, you'll realize that the moments that shaped you most were the moments you made a bold choice. Those are the moments where everything shifted, where doors opened, where opportunities appeared, where you discovered strength you didn't even know was there. That's why one decision matters so much. You don't need to wait for perfect timing or perfect conditions, because the decision itself creates the energy you need, and the fire is not given to you from outside. It's created the moment you choose boldly from within. Changing your mindset instantly changes the direction of your life. The mind is the control center of everything you do, every action you take, and every step you refuse to take. If your mind is filled with doubt, you'll walk in hesitation. If your mind is consumed with fear, you'll stay stuck in the same place, paralyzed by what might go wrong. But if your mind is focused on possibility, on faith, on growth, then the path ahead opens in ways you never imagined. That shift doesn't take years. It doesn't require endless preparation. It happens in the very moment you decide to think differently. The power of mindset is that it can turn the same set of circumstances into either a prison or a platform, depending on how you choose to see them. People underestimate how quickly things can change when they change the way they think. You can be in the same house, the same city, the same job, surrounded by the same people. Yet once you adjust your mindset, you start to see everything through a new lens. What once looked like obstacles begin to look like opportunities. What once felt like endings begin to feel like new beginnings. What once weighed you down begin to look like the very thing building your strength. That's the power of the mindset. Your world shifts the instant your thoughts do. Most of the limitations in life are not outside of you, they're inside your head. When you tell yourself you can't, your actions line up with that belief. When you tell yourself you're not good enough, your decisions will reflect that doubt. But when you shift your mindset to believe you are capable, you are worthy, and you are enough, you carry yourself differently. You walk with confidence, you speak with authority, you take risks you would have avoided before. The outer world may take time to catch up, but the inner world changes instantly, And that change is what sets everything else in motion. Changing your mindset also changes your energy. And energy attracts outcomes. A negative mindset will always draw more negativity into your life. You'll notice more problems, focus more on what's missing, and invite more frustration. A positive, empowered mindset will draw progress. You'll notice solutions, pay attention to opportunities, and attract the right kind of people and circumstances into your path. Life responds to the energy you put out, and that energy is born from the way you think. It doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending pain doesn't exist. A powerful mindset acknowledges the difficulty, but chooses to focus on growth instead of defeat. It doesn't deny fear, but chooses courage in spite of it. It doesn't eliminate challenges, but reframes them as part of the journey rather than as signs to quit. That shift is available at any moment. You don't need external permission. You don't need the perfect conditions. You simply need to decide that your thoughts will work for you instead of against you. The truth is, your mindset is either the anchor holding you back or the engine pulling you forward. You can live an entire lifetime stuck in the same cycles simply because your mind never shifted. But the moment you change the way you think, you alter the course of your entire future. Every great transformation begins in the mind. Every bold move begins with a new belief. Every success story begins with someone deciding to see life differently. Changing your mindset doesn't just adjust the way you feel, it reroutes the direction of your life in an instant. Setting boundaries and removing toxic energy empowers transformation. Too often, people carry the weight of relationships, environments, and influences that slowly drain their spirit. And then they wonder why they feel stuck, unmotivated, or uninspired. The truth is, you cannot rise to your potential while constantly allowing yourself to be surrounded by people and situations that diminish you. Setting boundaries is not about being cold or selfish. It's about protecting your peace, your energy, and your vision. When you draw clear lines about what you will and will not allow in your life, you create space for growth, for clarity, and for transformation. Toxic energy can come in many forms. It can be a person who always criticizes your dreams, a habit that keeps you locked in the same unproductive cycles, or even the voice inside your own head that feeds you doubt and fear. Transformation cannot take root in poison soil. You have to clear the ground so that what you plant in your life has room to grow. That begins with courage, the courage to say no, the courage to walk away, the courage to release what no longer serves you. This is one of the hardest steps in personal growth because it often means letting go of people, habits, or comfort zones that feel familiar. But familiarity is not the same as fulfillment. Boundaries are a declaration of self-respect. They say to the world, my energy is valuable, my time is important, my dreams matter, and I will not allow anything or anyone to rob me of them. Without boundaries, you leave the door open for negativity to constantly enter your life. With boundaries, you decide who gets access, how much access they get, and under what conditions. This doesn't just apply to relationships with others. It also applies to the relationship you have with yourself. Setting boundaries with your own habits, like limiting distractions, cutting down on unhealthy behaviors, and controlling what content you consume creates the discipline that fuels transformation. Once toxic energy is removed, something incredible happens. Your creativity increases, your confidence rises, your focus sharpens, and you begin to move with a sense of freedom. You no longer waste energy defending yourself against negativity or trying to prove your worth to people who never believed in you to begin with. That energy can now be invested in building, learning, and becoming the best version of yourself. The absence of toxicity doesn't leave you empty. It gives you space to fill your life with positivity, purpose, and people who uplift and encourage you. Transformation is not just about what you add into your life, it's equally about what you subtract. A flower doesn't grow simply because you water it. It grows because you also pull out the weeds that would choke its roots. In the same way, your potential cannot flourish if you continue to allow toxic influences to take up space in your heart and mind. You have to weed them out, even when it hurts, even when it feels uncomfortable, because the growth that comes after is worth it. The truth is, you cannot fix your entire life in one day if you are still clinging to the very things that are breaking it. Setting boundaries and removing toxicity is the step that clears the fog, opens the road, and allows transformation to take place. It empowers you to stand tall, to guard your vision, and to create an environment where you can thrive instead of just survive. Every time you enforce a boundary, you reinforce your worth. Every time you release toxic energy, you reclaim your power. That power is the foundation of transformation. And once you taste it, you will never allow yourself to live any other way. Breakthroughs come from decisive action, not endless waiting. Too many people waste years of their lives waiting for the right moment, the perfect opportunity, or a guarantee that things will work out before they ever take the first step. They sit on ideas, they daydream about goals, they pray for change, but they never move. Waiting creates the illusion of safety, but in reality, it is a prison that keeps you from experiencing the life you were meant to live. Decisive action, on the other hand, may not give you certainty, but it gives you progress. And progress is the only thing that leads to transformation. There will never be a perfect time. Conditions will never align in such a way that you feel completely prepared, completely confident, and completely resourced. If you wait for that moment, you will be waiting forever. Breakthroughs don't come to people who are sitting on the sidelines. They come to people who step into the arena, ready to fight, ready to fail, ready to learn, and ready to keep going. Action creates momentum, and momentum creates opportunities. The people you admire, the ones who made it, didn't have everything figured out. They had the courage to act before they were ready. The danger of endless waiting is that it slowly kills your belief in yourself. Every day you delay, you tell yourself the lie that you are not capable yet, that something is missing, that you are not enough. Over time, that mindset becomes cemented, and before you know it, years have passed with nothing but regret to show for them. Decisive action breaks that cycle. It says, I may not know everything, I may not have everything, but I will start with what I have, and I will figure the rest out along the way. That kind of boldness unlocks doors you didn't even know existed, because action introduces you to possibilities that waiting will never reveal. Taking decisive action also teaches you lessons that no amount of planning can. You learn resilience by doing, not by waiting. You learn creativity when you face problems head on, not by imagining solutions from the sidelines. You build strength when you take steps forward, stumble, and get back up. Every move you make, no matter how small, brings you closer to your breakthrough. The breakthrough is rarely the result of one perfect step. It is the product of many imperfect steps taken with consistency and courage. Action is also a declaration to yourself and to the world that you are serious about your vision. It shifts you from dreamer to doer. Dreamers may inspire themselves with ideas, but doers inspire themselves with results. Even if the result is small, even if it's just one step forward, it builds confidence. Confidence is not built in your imagination, it is built in your experience. The more you act, the more you realize you are capable of far more than you once believed. When you choose decisive action, you stop giving fear the driver's seat. Fear thrives in hesitation. It grows stronger the longer you wait. But the moment you act, fear loses its grip. You prove to yourself that you can move forward despite the doubt, despite the uncertainty, despite the risk. That proof becomes your power. And that power is what carries you through to your breakthrough. Breakthroughs are not accidental, they are intentional. They happen when someone decides to stop waiting for life to hand them a miracle and starts creating their own. Decisive action doesn't guarantee an easy road, but it guarantees movement. And movement is what leads to change. Waiting will keep you the same, but action will make you new. Every time you choose to act, you choose growth. And growth is where breakthroughs are born.